My name is Leland Spear. I was born October 20th, 1939. I served in the U.S. Air Force. I was in close to 8 years. I've been a lifelong truck driver over the road. That's been my main employment. I was 17. I quit school to go into the service. 1956. Numerous amount of places. Stateside, I was Missouri, Texas. I was in England for a while, Germany, Spain. That's about it. We were a transit outfit. I was with what they call SAC. I was in during the Cold War, and SAC was a strategic bomber fleet. We had B-52s, B-47s, and we always had a couple of aircraft sitting at the end of the runway in case something happened, and we had to utilize them. No, I enlisted. I've lost track of everybody. Yes, I was going to try the Marine Corps. I went to the post office to sign up. The recruiter was out to lunch, so I kind of made me a little mad, so I went down to the Army branch, and they were out to lunch. Same thing happened with the Navy, and the only one that was in his office was an Air Force recruiter. So that's how I ended up in the Air Force. And the fact is, I've always had a great love for airplanes. Yeah, I was terrified. The drill instructors came right in on us and barking orders, and made it very stressful. It was hard. Yeah, I had two black TIs, and they were twins, and we couldn't tell them apart. And they loved to play that role of, well, he said that, no, I didn't, and it really made it hard. Well, yeah, I went to school for 9 months on instructions on a B-47 bomber, and that covered engines, instruments, a multitude of different areas of the aircraft that we had to know about. San Antonio, Texas. England. That was pretty uneventful, long trip. I was stationed at Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri at that time, and then transferred over to England. I was what they call a crew chief. We had 3 men on an aircraft. There was a third man, there was an assistant crew chief, and there was a crew chief. And once you obtained a crew chief, those other 2 men were underneath you, and you were more or less like the owner of the aircraft. There wasn't too many of them other than just flying to different places. It was pretty uneventful. I was married at the time, and I lived off base. And it was just, other than being put on alert status, it was pretty much just like a civilian job. No. Lost track of all of them. No. Actually, no. Things were pretty quiet. I lived in a very, very, very small town called Noster, Missouri. I lived up over a liquor store, and I remember the couple that owned it. They were an old couple. My wife and I, we used to just get in the car and go out and drive through the country. And I had this was in 1956, and I had a big old 1948 Packard. And it was a heavy car, a big car. And we used to just love to go for drives. That's about all we did. We'd go for ice cream and just pretty much what everybody else did. No. Yes, they were. 30 days, I think. No, the club, USO Club, that was a place to socialize on the base, and they had different things for the servicemen, like typewriters, and they didn't have computers. We could go in there and socialize, and they served what they called 3-2 beer. It was like a near beer, and it was only 3-2%. That's all you could get. No, I've always meant to, but I just never got around to it. No, I was not a pilot. Oh, I've been on commercial flights, a B-47 bomber, a KC-97, a refueler. I was just overwhelmed with it. You know, there was so much to look at and so much to do. Oh yeah. I had one fellow from White Plains, New York. He was the third man on the crew, and I had an assistant crew chief. I can't remember where he was from, but I had a master sergeant that was in charge of our squadron, and he was in at that time. He was had already been in for 10 years, and he made master sergeant in 10 years, which was really, really good. And he was very instrumental in my life with being a crew chief there. Quite a while. I can't remember exactly how long, but we pretty much stayed right in the squadron, more or less. No. Well, they had, there was one incident that stood out. I don't think I'll ever forget it. They were repaving the runways at Olathe Naval Air Station in Missouri, and they brought a bunch of fighter aircraft and parked them right close to the runway while they were working on the runway at the other base, and a B-47 crashed on landing, and it was a pretty bad scene. There was, I think, three men lost. No, it was a different squadron altogether. Oh, good. Very, very, very good. Yeah, my wife and I settled down in Endicott, and I was married for the first time for 10 years, and then my wife and I got a divorce, and I remarried and was married for 43 years.